Think of a time you were talking to your friend and all of a sudden they interrupted you because you said a sentence grammatically wrong. Let's say you were talking about your mom and yourself and you said, me and my mom went to the park on Saturday to go watch the soccer game, for example. And then they interrupt you and they're saying, oh no, it's not like that. It's your mom and I, or my mom and I should say, you know? So when it comes to grammar is a set of patterns for how words are put together to form phrases or clauses, whether spoken or in writing. Different languages have different patterns. What does that mean? So, like the sentence I just explained, in English, the subject comes first, followed by the verb and the object. But for example, in Spanish, the subject comes first and then the object and verb. So, what's the difference? They're different languages, but they mean the same thing. So there's always like a war between grammar and in the grammar world, especially between linguists and just regular people. By the way, I'm reading my notes that I wrote. In the real world, linguists describe some conscious rules. They use more descriptivism, which means no form of language is inherently wrong per se. For most people, we use prescriptivism, which are followed prescribed rules of standard English. The central theme is the distinction between two perspectives on grammar, descriptivism and prescriptivism. Linguists adopting a descriptive view see grammar as the unconscious structure underlying language, recognizing all dialects and forms as valid systems. On the other hand, prescriptivism enforces rules about correct language, used often tied to standard English, which is important in formal, academic, and professional contexts. So, in other words, what this is trying to say, when we think of the prescriptive point of view, everything's more formal. Everything has to be like by the rules, you know? And then when we think of descriptive, it's like you're more open to ideas. Actually, like better described as exploring how the language is used as opposed to pushing rules to see what's okay and what's not okay. So that's the difference. I think it's very important to address these prescriptive and descriptive grammar in the classroom and really finding that balance so that students can understand how and when to use both of these in real life and in academic situations. As a teacher, I must teach perspective rules for formal situations like academic writing to ensure clarity and standards for the basic academic foundation. Also, while incorporating a descriptive approach to help students understand and analyze real-world language and use diverse dialects. So it's all about just finding the balance and teaching both so that the students have like a good understanding of what both mean and when to use them. The way I would grade literature writing and conventions is by reading thoroughly what the student has written and then seeing if they provided evidence, if they did their analysis, if they were critically thinking, if they have all their literacy elements, and their thesis and argument. I feel like if they have all of those in the right order, then it would all like come together as a good argumentative essay.